sliced bread! Have you seen the new ZR1 Corvette announcement? Woohoo! It makes more than 1,000 horsepower out of a brand new Corvette. Yeehaw, America! Well, that's freaking stupid. And this is probably going to piss off a lot of people, but I want to talk about it because everybody else is talking about it. Let's talk about the new 2025 ZR1 Corvette, just recently announced down yonder in Miami somewhere, where they flew a whole bunch of people down to talk about how great it is, how much of an accomplishment it is, and how incredible a vehicle it's going to be. It's going to be a monumental change. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, this is probably going to upset my ability to get sponsored by Chevy, but I don't care. It's stupid. It makes no sense. I don't care. It's not influential. And everybody else is just blowing smoke up your butt. It doesn't matter. Now, okay, now that I've probably made you angry, why would I say that? Well, let's talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about basic facts here. So, I'm not going to get into the engineering side of this, but it's a 5.5 liter flat plane crank, dual overhead cam, V8, twin turbo, right? Great, that's fantastic. So think, I don't know, Ford Mustang GT350 with a flat plane crank V8. Yeah, think that motor, but just with a Chevy badge on it, and then hang two turbos on it, essentially is how that works. So they went with slightly less displacement, more revs. They went with camshafts that are up on top of the head, like, I don't know, Ford's been doing for 20 years. And then they added two turbos to it, which are really interestingly made to the exhaust manifold. So that way you have less of an issue with turbo lag, because they're right there. But also means whenever you have a problem, you have to replace the turbo and the manifold together. It also means you're not going to be able to modify it. But that doesn't matter, because nobody who owns one of these things is going to modify it. You want to know why? Because they're going to be $180,000. All right, we don't know the actual number yet about what it's going to cost. Somewhere we are guessing between $150,000 and $210,000 is what I can find basically everywhere on the internet. Which means the people who are going to be buying these things, who can afford to buy a $200,000, give or take, Corvette, most of them can't even handle a car that makes that kind of power. We don't have graduated licensing here in the United States. There's not things where you have to qualify to be able to drive a faster and faster car. All you have to do is be able to spend that much money. So if you think about the people around you, or that you've seen in the car community, or that you know own and buy those kinds of things, how many of those people do you think have the ability to handle a vehicle that makes 1,000+ horsepower? It's not many of them. I'll give you a hint. It's a lot of power. That's a stupid amount of power. A stupid amount of power. We're talking like nobody needs to have that much power kind of power. Like the Hellcats are great. They're stupid, but they're great. They don't really do great as far as cars go. It's hard to make them go in a straight line unless you spend a whole bunch of money beyond what you bought the car for in the first place. You've got to put a whole bunch of aftermarket parts on it to be able to make it even hook up and go in a straight line, much less around corners. Corvettes are designed to go around corners. 1,000 horsepower car that's decided to go around corners? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The only reason that this car is being brought out is because it's going to make those guys with big, deep pockets and New Balances excited, because they can brag about the fact that they bought a 1,000 horsepower Corvette. End of conversation. Thanks for watching. That's literally it. That's the only reason that exists. There's no feasible reason for this. How many of these ZR1s are we going to see driven in anger around a track that are going to be sold in Florida or California or wherever else? They're not going to be driven that way. Now the Z06, it's not going to be turbocharged. It's going to be naturally aspirated. Now I'm a huge fan of that. Props to you for that. I'm totally fine with that. Build something that's going to be an awesome track car, purpose built to go out and flog the heck out of. It's going to be an awesome machine. I love it. GM, thank you for that. I appreciate you coming into the 2000s and going with the variable valve timing thing that, you know, literally everybody else has figured out before now. Props to you. That's going to be a great motor. Could be a great car. We'll see. We'll wait and see how that works out. But this ZR1 thing, pure stupidity. I'm sorry, guys. It's probably not a very popular opinion. Pure stupidity. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for it. And we're never gonna see them in the wild. They're never gonna be driven hard. They're gonna go into rich guy collections. They're gonna show up at Cars and Coffees and other rich guy events. They're never gonna utilize 1,000 horsepower. Maybe 1% of them ever will. So it's not gonna be changing the world. It's not gonna be making a major impact. Yeah, it exists. Cool, great, congratulations. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. GM, what you should have done, but you shouldn't bring Pontiac back. Should have used all that money you just spent developing all that, and brought back this brand right here, Pontiac. Bring this back. This is what you should have done. Bring back some fun cars, some small cars, some enjoyable cars, some things that normal friggin' people can afford. Who cares about a Halo Corvette that makes 1,000 horsepower and nobody's gonna care about? What's gonna trickle down from that to this normal people? I mean, maybe eventually in 15 years, people will be able to buy them as, you know, third-hand, barely used vehicles to be able to turn them into race cars and stuff, but that's 15 years from now, or whenever they start depreciating, because you better believe they're going to depreciate. But who cares? Then it's going to be too late. That doesn't make any sense. You should be building some fun cars for the people that are out there, you know, supporting GM and that want to actually go out and have fun in a GM-powered vehicle, like a new Fiero or a Solstice or anything else. I don't know, guys. I get it. I might sound like the old guy, and I get it. I have a gray beard, but I promise you, I'm not that old. I'm not going to end this with "get off my lawn." But to me, everybody just rah rah siskumba for GM for building this Corvette. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It's stupid. It's totally stupid. I don't understand why everybody's so excited about it. Build something fun. Make it something affordable that people can get interested in and people can enjoy. And who cares? It's 1,000 horsepower LS. You know what else is also going to be 1,000 horsepower? Something like that. You take a 6-liter LS, you put some lower compression pistons in it, you put a giant stupid turbo on it, you put it on whatever fuel you build it to be able to be built on, and you go let it eat. Building 1,000 horsepower LSs is not that complicated. Building 1,000 horsepower motors is not that complicated. It's pure math. It's compression, it's fuel, it's timing. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's not, they didn't reinvent the wheel here. They allowed you to use more revs, which is more horsepower. They bumped the compression down to be able to run more boost on factory heads and on factory fuels. And they added variable valve timing for intake and exhaust, which is, you know, literally something we've been using since the early 2000s. It's not anything that's crazy. It's not anything special. Now, if you wouldn't mind, get off my lawn!